let's be beastly to the Germans when our victory is ultimately won. Let's give them full air parity and treat the rats with charity, but don't let's be beastly to the Hun.
You know, I once made a picture for MGM. You know, the beginning of an MGM film where Leo the Lion comes out and goes, bleh. Came out at the beginning of my picture, but he didn't roar. Just went...
Listen, I've just come back from my holidays and always have a wonderful time when I go on my holidays because I haven't got one of those wives who says, where have you been? How much have you spent? Who have you been with? She doesn't say that. She comes with me.
I wasn't expecting to see you this evening.
Why not?
Well, this telegram you sent me says I am dying. I don't know what you meant.
I am dying. Did I say that?
Dying on the
I
telegram.
am dying. Oh, well, you see, I wanted to say I am dying to see you, but there were too many words for sixpence, so I didn't...
Tim, what have you got in your hand? But we haven't had toast and jelly for 2 days.
Saw the sergeant major yesterday. He said to a fella, get your hair cut, you look like a St. Bernard dog. Then he barked at him and ran away.
Sergeant, I want you.
Why?
You're my last territorial demand in Europe.
Great Schweinehund, Fawcett, I knock your head off on the block.
Not if I knock your block off first.
A little taster of what's to come, folks. Have we got a treat in store for you? But before we embark on this wallow through wartime whimsy, have a look at this.
And take a radio band playing up on the stand. You part of the stage door canteen.
Romance will creep in once in a while, as romance will often do. Many hearts will be left at the door, and it might easily happen to you. And take the finest of menus existing, take a ballroom that has to be seen. If you put them together like birds of a feather, the whole thing seems just like a dream. Yes, it's really quite sincerely.
Come on through the door.
This is really the state door canteen.
A few magic moments from the opening night of the Stage Door Canteen in London's Piccadilly. The Stage Door Canteen was a place where servicemen and women could meet up and be entertained. Of course, by the time it opened, Great Britain, as we were then, was well into the war. Even the Yanks had joined in. But what about September the 3rd, 1939? The day war broke out, the government ordered all public places to be closed down. The only establishments where crowds were allowed to gather were churches. But you don't get many laughs there, and it soon became evident that people's morale required a bit of a boost. Well, they needed cheering up. What with the national diet of spam, powdered egg and snook? Oh, and the antics of a certain gentleman with a ridiculous haircut and an even more ridiculous moustache. No, not Jimmy Wheeler. I'm talking about Adolf. You know, the man famous for having only one ambition. World domination. Ridiculous. Vera Lynn's agent was already achieving that. And so, ENSA was born, the Entertainment's National Service Association. Or as Tommy Trinder rather unkindly put it, every night something awful. Okay, so at the beginning they didn't quite get it right. I mean, sending the likes of Will Hay out on a tour of army camps to give lectures on astronomy. I ask you, what a waste. Fortunately, there's a handful of classic films to remind us just what a terrific comedian he was. In this scene, from the wartime morale booster The Goose Steps Out, Hay, working for British intelligence, is masquerading as a German agent, teaching a class of young Nazi spies how to pass off as English residents.
Right? Now, you're in there and you're talking about the war. Now, you, Klaus. Someone says to you, well, what do you think of the news, mate? What would you reply?
I should say, by Jove, old fruit, I find it increasingly disheartening. I fear we Britons are no match for the glorious German army.
Blimey! Did you hear that? I mean, you wouldn't last long with that sort of tripe. Now, go on, you ask me.
What do you think of the news, mate?
Well, I should say, if you ask me, I think there's a nasty surprise packet coming to poor, ruddy old Adolf. Well, I'm speaking now as a British citizen would, see?
Do they really talk like that, sir?
I mean, that's high-class saloon bar stuff. You ought to hear what they say in the Four Ale Bar.
They can't seriously think, sir, that they stand a chance against our invincible army.
On the contrary, they think they're going to knock the stuffing out of you. And they will. I mean, they will go on thinking that until they learn differently.
You mean until they learn to appreciate the greatness of our beloved Führer?
Precisely. Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler! Oh, by the way, that reminds me. When you get to England, you mustn't keep on doing this. Unless you want to stop a bus or leave the room or something.
But have the British no form of ceremonial salutation, sir?
No what? No salutation? Oh, yes. Yes, of course we have. Of course they have, yes. Yes, they do this. And I think you'd better all practice it. It's very simple. Listen to this. 1, 2. 1, 2. And every time you do it, you must be thinking of your glorious fatherland. Now, stand up, gentlemen. Hands in position. That's right. Now, ready? Go. 1, 2. Just a moment, gentlemen. Just a moment. Not to me, gentlemen. Not to me. To our beloved Führer. You ready? Go!
Top marks if you recognised a young Charles Hawtrey and an even younger Peter Ustinov. It was a popular practice in those troubled times to knock the Germans in particular and foreigners in general at every opportunity. Never more evident than in this charming little ditty rendered by Scott Sanders.
We're going to sing a song to you. We hope the censor lets it through. The lyric's good, so you can't go wrong if you just clap through the song. Now you can't go wrong, you'll hear the stops. Just clap when we all sing wops. Now, have you got the idea? When we sing wops, all you do is clap your hands twice like this. Now, go on, have a go. Your mum won't know. Okay, Stan? Oh, the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. The wops, the wops. Their skins are olive, brown, and white, but when it comes to a stand-up fight, they all turn yellow overnight. The Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. A tasket, what a lot of yellow baskets are the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. Now the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. The wops, the wops. Now Hitler's clever, bear in mind, but the Germans think that he's unkind, 'cause in their sausages they find the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops.
Ah, sweet mystery of lies, at last they found you.
The Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. Now the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. The wops, the wops. In Russia, you will hear them cuss as things get worse and worse and worse. We've got them by the Caucasus, the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. And they're shivering through a white Christmas, the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. Now the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. The wops, the wops. V is the sign for victory. It goes like this for you and me, but it goes like that, you must agree, for the Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops. And all soldiers never die.
Get up, them dads!
What? What, me?
No!
The Japanese, the Jerrys, and the wops.
Oh dear. And no apologies for the total lack of political correctness there. We had little time for that sort of nonsense in those days, but we did have time for the likes of Charlie Chester. Charlie was one of the first stars in battle dress, an organisation which, unlike ENSA, consisting entirely of civilian entertainers, provided shows and plays with casts of enlisted servicemen and women. So Cheerful Charlie was foremost a soldier and a comedian and writer second, although he'd probably say it was the other way round. Do you remember Flanagan and Allen's big hit, Forget Me Not Lane? He wrote that. Here he is, still in uniform with temporary partner Jimmy Wheeler.
In, I had to enlist, I needed the money.
Yeah, Cole, you are an idiot.
Why, what are you...
I've been in a long time, I know what it's all about.
What mob are you in?
Tanks!
Tanks?
I worked my way up from Sisters.
You'll never guess where I'm going.
Where you go?
Sergeant Major told me I've got to have army haircut.
Army haircut?
Yeah.
You'll have to have gas.
Well, I know from what I've seen of it, the army haircuts come in 3 dimensions.
3 dimensions?
Short, very shortening off the white.
Yeah. That sounds fair.
Saw the sergeant major yesterday. He said to a fella, "Get your hair cut. You look like a St. Bernard dog." Then he barked at him and ran away.
Yeah. Here, talking about dogs, we've got some dirty dogs in our mob.
What do you mean?
At the whip, knocking off.
Really?
All of them.
Really?
The officer had us on parade, you see. He said, "Wheeler, have you seen anybody knocking anything off?" I said, "No. No one in our mob would do anything like that." He said, "No, where's your trousers?" Yeah.
Suit must have been made for somebody.
Yeah.
Here, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim.
Careful.
What do you mean, careful?
Yeah.
Here, Jim. Just see, they've invented another new Belgian gun.
A Belgian gun?
Made in Brussels. Shoots sprouts.
Yeah.
Have a try, one.
Have a try. I had to go at the old Sting gun.
Nah, what's it like?
What's it like? I didn't know I was holding it wrong until I saw my fingers coming out the end of the barrel.
Nobody went to sleep while Jim was on. Charlie, of course, was responsible for Stand Easy, one of the BBC's hit radio shows towards the end of the war. But undoubtedly, the programme that tickled the nation's funny bone the most throughout the little 6-year skirmish with Hitler was this one.
Well, I'll push a piece of footy down my pants and pass away. What a reception. Well, I hope you'll all stay a little while, folks, because I'm going to give a party. I've got a jelly 3 feet high, and I've been bracing it with a steam hammer. It's a real slap-up affair. I've invited a lot of old friends, real old friends. They're all in the cloakroom at the moment. You can't see the wash basins for whiskers.
The sun is a-shining to welcome the day. Hey-ho, come to the fair.
What fair?
Tuppence.
Sam, get me a tram. I've just bought a ticket. The trouble is to find somewhere to put them all up for the night.
Oh, dear.
Hello? Oh, hello, it's that Jap again. They told me you had a touch of the chin dip. Oh, there's lots of them here, but you'll have to take your turn. Oh, yes, you can smoke there and read. Well, ask the welfare officer. He's got one to himself.
Also present, of course, was Mrs. Muff.
Can I do you now, sir?
Well, if it isn't Canteen Clara, the whistle-smacking bomber. I say, you look a bit tousled. Have you flown off the handle?
No, sir. I've been fire-watching for the first time.
You have a chaperone?
Oh, yes, sir. And a very nice, polite chap he was, too. Always said pardon before he took his boots off.
I should hate to hear what he said before he took his socks off.
Tommy Hanley putting his pals through their paces. Wartime comedy on the wireless catered for everyone. If your leanings were towards the khaki, there was Stand Easy. For those who liked the touch of the yellow sailors, there was Navy Mixture. And those magnificent chaps with names like Pongo, Biffo, or even Ginger. I'm talking about the RAF, of course. They were represented by the likes of Richard Murdoch, Kenneth Horne, Maurice Denham, and Sam Coster. The programme, Much Binding in the Marsh.
Much Binding takes the air. This week it takes the screen as well. Producer Leslie Bridgemont gives the cue, and off we go.
Steady, Murdoch, not so fast. After all, I'm
But
not...
we must hurry, sir. We don't want the man to catch us. There, isn't that a lovely bulldozer? Will you drive or shall I?
Well, Murdoch, I'll drive. I should imagine this is the starter button. I'll try it.
Good. Yes.
Yes, that seems to be the one.
Oh, fine. Now let them touch it and I'll work the scoop.
All right, Murdoch, scoop away.
Oh!
What is it, Murdoch? You found something?
No, you're on my foot.
Oh, sorry, I'll back a bit. How far can I back?
3 yards.
Right back.
Sorry, 2 yards.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Blake.
Oh, Marina, read this all about my geraniums.
Don't you worry, Mr. Blake. I know we can get some glass. Now, Murdoch, stand by with the scoop while I rev her up.
Okay, sir. That's a beauty, sir. Now switch off and let's see if we've scooped anything.
Right.
By Jove, there is something here, sir. Help me move this boulder, and we'll see what's in the scoop.
All right, Maddock, you ready? 1,
Yes.
2, 3.
Good morning, sir. Was there something?
Costa, what on earth are you doing there?
Well, it's a long story, sir. Full up a chaise long. See, I was in the scullery with Mrs. Larkin, and she said, where does that door lead to? Well, I wasn't sure, so I opened it, and there was a long, winding passage.
Yes, Costa?
Well, I went along, and the passage got narrower and narrower.
Yes, Costa?
Then I went a bit further, and I heard an eerie noise.
What was it, Costa?
My moustache rubbing against the walls.
Costa!
Well!
In the 1940 film Let George Do It, a certain Lancashire entertainer with a big grin finds himself in Norway by mistake, confronted by a Nazi spy ring. This Ealing comedy even has him coming to blows with the Fuhrer himself.
All present and correct, Sir George. My lord, the barge awaits. Very good.
Goodbye. Goodbye, toodaloo. I'll send you some Berlin rock.
Der Spanier Christoph Kolumbus, gestützt auf die Erfahrungen deutscher Gelehrter und unterstützt von deutschen Apparaten und Instrumenten. Gutdänig von...
Hey, you! Hey, Windback! Adolf! Gute Schokilis!
4 Jahre lang als einfacher Soldat und es erbrochen der Deutschen...
Well, you asked for it.
Enger. Allein. Out,
Look out, Adolf! I'm coming after you.
I'm determined on self-determination. I wipe the British Empire from the face of the earth.
Hello? I want you.
Why?
You're my last territorial demand in Europe.
British Schweinehund, for that I knock your head off on the block.
Not if I knock your block off first.
Yes, it was all a dream. But George Formby wasn't afraid to face reality, as this rare footage shows. Our man wowing the troops on the front line.
Right. Now imagine me in the Maginot Line, sitting on the mine in the Maginot Line. Now it's turned out nice again, the army life is fine. French girls make a fuss of me. I'm not French as you can see, but I know what they mean when they say wee wee. Down on the Maginot Line. Now imagine me in the Maginot Line, sitting on the mine in the Maginot Line. Now it's turned out nice again, the army life is fine. The enemy we had to chase, but my gun got out of place. I went and shot the colonel in the face. Now imagine me in the Maginot Line, sitting on the mine in the Maginot Line. Now it's turned out nice again, the army life is fine. At night myself to sleep I sing, to my old tin hat I cling. I have to use it now for everything. There's a lot of truth in that, I know. Now imagine me in the Maginot Line, sitting on the mine in the Maginot Line. Now it's turned out nice again, the army life is fine. Hitler can't kid us a lot, his secret weapons don't me rot. You ought to see what the sergeant does.
I wonder where George's wife Beryl was at the time. Oh, what a woman she was. Never letting him kiss any of his leading ladies, and only allowing him 5 bob a day pocket money. She really had him by the shortened ukuleles. No tribute to wartime comics, though, would be complete without this performer. Indeed, his immortal line, "The day war broke out," if you'll pardon the repetition, is probably as famous as he is. Here we see Rob Wilton.
I'm one of the lads in blue. I'm a member of the force. Whether I'm on days or whether I'm on nights, I've only got to walk about looking at the sights. I get along all right. Nothing ever upsets me. I might have been a soldier or a sailor, If I hadn't been a bold PC, 5 to 4 on. 5 to 4. Ah, that's right. 1 and 9pence to come. That makes it right. Yes. I'll have to put this book straight, you know. This police business is mixing all my betting up. I don't know where I'm going to do. What's this? Wandering Jake. Wandering Jake? I don't know whether that's the name of a racehorse or a murderer. Wandering Jake.
There's a lovely story about Rob, who was in a pub one evening when he noticed a very depressed man sitting in a corner all alone and sobbing into his drink. Now, Rob, being the kind of man he was, walked over to the bloke. "Oh, whatever's the matter?" he asked. "Oh," said the man, "it's being here by myself. You know, I'm so lonely. I'm so terribly lonely." "Oh, come on, buck up, old son," said Rob. "What will you have to drink?" "A large brandy," replied the man. "A large brandy," said Rob. "No wonder you're lonely." One tireless answer performer who did several gruelling tours in the Middle East, Central Europe and India was Joyce Grenfell. On one occasion, she did no less than 9 concerts in a single day. Who'll ever forget this little gem?
Children, free time is over, so put away your things and come and make a lovely half circle on the floor all round me, and then we can tell our nice story together. And hurry up, people, please, because we've got a visitor today, so we can tell our nice story to her. Will you be all right over there, Mrs. Binton? I think you'll get quite a good view of the proceedings. Now, hurry up, everybody. Yes, Geoffrey, that is a nice place. You sit, but face this way. That's right. This group storytelling is quite a feature of our work here in the nursery school, Mrs. Vinton. We like to feel that each little individual has a contribution to make to the world of make-believe. And, of course, we have many valuable lessons to learn from teamwork. And we are a very happy band of brothers here. Edgar, let go of Timisia. Now then, everybody settle down. Sydney, come out from under the table, dear, and come and help me tell our nice story. Don't you want to help me, Sydney? Well, say, no, thank you. And stop machine gunning, everybody, please. Neville, stop being a railway train, dear, and come and sit down. Oh, all right, well, get into the station and then sit down. George. Don't do that. Now, shall we have some nice straight backs? That's a bit better. What shall we tell our story about today? Rachel, take your shoe off your head and put it on your foot. Now, shall we tell our story about a little mouse or about a big red bus? What did you say, Peggy? About a dear little bunny rabbit. That's a very good idea. We'll tell our story about a dear little bunny rabbit. No, Sydney, he was not a burglar bunny, and no, nor was his daddy. No. Well, he was just an ordinary businessman, bunny rabbit. Sydney, stop machine gunning people, please. I don't want to say that again, but I have to. One of our individualists. He does have little personality problems of aggression, but we like to feel that when his energies are canalized in the right direction, he's going to be quite a worthwhile person. That's our hope.
On arriving to entertain the troops in a hospital in Poona, Joyce was greeted by the chaplain with the immortal line, "Thank you, Miss Grenfell, for coming all this way to entertain the men in bed." Another star who performed for the troops in India was Stainless Stephen.
It will take me all my time to keep stainless this evening. Very hard life nowadays being a comedian. After all, you've got Goering and Goebbels to listen to every morning nowadays. Time marches back. I think for the last fortnight it's been galloping back. 2,000 years of civilization and now this. I've just been talking to a young lad outside. He's got a new job, selling maps of Europe with rubber boundaries. You know, I can't understand it. I mean, look at this fellow Adolf Hitler. He was only a Lance Corporal when I was a Sergeant Major. Now he's the President of Germany and I'm not even on the London County Council.
In this next clip, there's not a joke to be heard, but my word, they were funny. They. Yes, folks, you got 3 for the price of 1 with this act. Yes, Wilson, Keppel and Betty. During the course of their career, Wilson and Keppel got through about 14 Bettys. Well, I mean that in the nicest possible way, of course. They were legendary. They even played Las Vegas. And they arrived in Las Vegas and the customs officer stopped them. He said, "Just a minute, what have you got in those 2 bags they were carrying?" They said, "Sand for our act." He said, "Sand? For God's sake, you're in Las Vegas. There's sand everywhere." They said, "But it's not the right sort of sand." Now, almost as much a British institution as Churchill and the Bulldog were the Crazy Gang. Bud, Ches, Nervo and Knox, Norton and Gold. Oh, and that French geezer, Monsieur Eddie Gray.
Now here, ladies and gentlemen, here. Here I have about 24 beautiful pigeons, and 1 flick from my whip, and they stop walking. Just 1 flick. I think I've got the wrong flicking whip. Somebody in a banana. Somebody here in a banana. Banana. King's case, banana. Right between the lagoons and the somebody in a encore a petit peu. Not a whopper, just a petit peu. Wiedersehen. Wiedersehen. All right, carry on a bit then, go on. Somebody in a banana. Encore a petit. Wiedersehen. That's foreign for Fermi-La Port. Here, let them stretch their legs. Let them have a jolly good flight. That's the jolly idea. Loved it.
Lads and lasses, we've been asked to inflict upon you by special request our slow-motion wrestling as you don't have to listen to it. First an all-in wrestling match, and then as shown by the slow-motion camera. Right.
No, that wasn't fair. Why wasn't it fair? You had your nose in my eye. I never touched your eye.
Yes, you didn't have filthy.
Listen, if you think I touched your eye, I'll tell you what we'll do. What? We'll take that wrestle like a slow-motion picture.
Slow-motion picture?
Slow now.
Are you ready? Yes, go.
Yes? You go in the basement. Yes? You know the flagstone we marked? Right. Lift it up and dig for the treasure. Right. And keep going until you hear my whistle. Right. Just a minute. Have you got the Sarah Will? Has he got the what? The Sarah Will. The Sarah Will. The dynamite. Dynamite. Yes. Okay, good. I knew. I've come prepared. Yes. I brought 2 whistles. Yes. Now then, you've got one? Yes. And I've got one too. Yeah, eh? I say you've got one and I've got one too. So you've only got one? I know I've only got one. And you've only got one too. Well, where's the other one? Which other one? The one I've got. You've got one. And I've got one too. Do it again. Do it again. Here with you. There are 2 whistles. Now then, you've got one. Yes. And I've got one too. It's done with mirrors. I've seen it. It's done with mirrors. Done with mirrors? Let me have a go. All right, you have a go. Now, there's a couple of 2 whistles here, isn't it? 2 whistles. Yes. Now, you've got one. And you've got one too. I felt it go. I felt it go. Where did it? I felt it go. No, I can't be bothered. Can't be bothered? Hold your hand out. No, I'm the monitor. Hold your hand out. Now, you've got one now. If anything happens your side, yes, you whistle 1. Yes. If anything happens my side, I whistle 1, 2. Why should you blow more than me? I don't blow more than you. I only blow 1. And you only blow 1 too. I blow twice and me 1, 1 once. Is that what I do? You blow 1 in your 1 whistle 1, and I blow 1 on my 1 whistle 2. Why should you blow more than me? That's what I want to know. Why should you blow more than me? I only blow 1. And I only blow 1 too. Here, come downstairs and give us a hand. And you come down too. Why, here it is. What are you doing on the top here?
Why, it looks as if someone's been here before us.
They have. Now we'll have to burn the building down.
And if you thought Bud's only connection with the Home Guard was singing the theme song for Dad's Army, you're wrong.
The Home Guard is already a fine force, but it looks like being better still with some of the new recruits who are coming forward.
2 new recruits for the company, sir.
Bring them in, will you?
Come in.
Oh, Flanagan. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Do you wish to join the Melbourne Company?
Yes, sir. My son and I.
Have you filled in the form, and do you understand it?
Well, sir, barring this thing about my profession...
Why, actor, surely.
Well, I think comedian would be better.
We'll soon cure him of that, sir.
Bud and his son draw their kit, and the question arises, what's your size in hats?
What size cap?
6, 7, 8. Yours, 9, 10, 11.
None of your cheek.
And so to the first recruit parade.
2 new men just joined, Sergeant. All right, you get on the left and you form the blank file.
Dad, what's a blank file?
Here. Get in there.
Was it my imagination, or did I hear somebody whisper, oi? Of course, Bud's not really a recruit. He served 3 years in the last war. But he's not about joining a recruit squad to freshen himself up. And if one of Britain's busiest and best-known comedians can find time to do his drills, that should encourage other folk who may think themselves too busy or too important.
Now here's a man who could have been a member of the Crazy Gang after being booked to replace Norton and Gold in a review at the London Palladium. Unfortunately for him, the Blitz closed the show after only 4 days. but he didn't let a little setback like that affect his career.
Trinder's the name, Tommy Trinder, making a personal appearance in Italy for Ensa. Taking up a position outside the Garrison Theatre in Foggia, Tommy gives a turn to 8th Army lads.
You can't get in! You unlucky people! Well, anyway, the best thing we can do is to work out in the open air. Do you hear the voice? I got a voice like medals. I won this. Well, anyway, it's grand being in Italy. Something about Italy that gets you. As I came along just now, I went like that, and my right lung said to my left lung, that's the stuff I was telling you about. Really, I should be here in battle dress. You know, when I left England to come and work for Ensa, they said, you'll have to wear a battle dress. I said, well, what's the idea? I mean, after all, I'm an actor, not a soldier. So they said, well, you'll have to wear a battle dress because if you get captured by the Germans, they'll shoot you. I said, if the Germans capture me, they're entitled to shoot. Next thing, they put me on an aeroplane. They put me on an aeroplane, flew me all the way out to Algiers. I eventually arrived at the aerodrome. Is that my voice or a brake squeaking? Good afternoon, rich people. Anyway. First Americans I've seen not riding in a Jeep. Oh, they've all got their own personal Jeeps. Yeah. Same as this one they've given me. Gave it to me instead of a gas mask. But a Jeep, an upholstered roller skate. Luckily, I know the man that owns them. He's got his name on the back, Max Speed. You know, I once made a picture for MGM. You know, the beginning of an MGM film where Leo the lion comes out and goes, bleh. Came out at the beginning of my picture, but he didn't roar. Just went...
Tommy was a Londoner, born and bred, and a huge star. Frank Randall, on the other hand, was one of those northerners whose comedy just didn't travel in those days. In fact, for a long time, none of his films were shown south of Birmingham. Oh, what a treat those snobbish southerners deprived themselves of.
Ah, where are you, Martin? Excuse me, my compliments. Why, you look pale? Are you cold? Don't go away, don't go away. I'll come with you. Been fighting, eh? Excuse me. Hey, help! Hey, help! Don't get help!
What are you doing, you silly ark? What are you doing? You want to kill me?
My dogs, I think.
Who's the bird? Who's the bird?
It's an old flame of mine.
Let's go.
All right, go. Don't get excited. Which is me?
You'll have a screwed apple here. Hey, so, stop it, girl. Hey, stop it, girl. Well, I was in time anyway. I was in time.
My gumbo.
Sorry, this is my mistake.
Thank you.
You're always in trouble. Well, where do you want to go?
I'm going to the bathroom.
Bathroom, is it?
Yes.
Up the stairs. Thank you.
Come on, we'll get there. Don't worry.
All right.
All right.
Go on.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't long, was it?
Well, I won't go to the bathroom. I'll find it myself.
Okie dokie. Good night, old pal.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. To the bathroom.
He was a society entertainer, you know. I wonder if he'd have fitted in at a Foyle's luncheon in Grosvenor House. I don't think so.
At Foyle's luncheon, Grosvenor House.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now present Lord Haw-Haw of Season and a friend of his. This is Germany calling, Germany calling. I wish to tell you, Britishers, that by the courtesy of the Hamburger Reich, I have come to your ridiculous luncheon, mainly to see how far you are in the soup. not the Führer. Yes, but don't be long. Fighting my way through the snow. Hail! Snow. Where is the Exeter? Where is Mr. Winston Churchill?
The war made one man a legend. And not only with the British, the Americans took him to their hearts as well. He only made 2 films, neither of them much cop, but at least one of them, London Town, preserves some of his most famous sketches on celluloid forever. The comic genius, Sid Field.
Hey, you, biggie!
Somebody having a go at you, Tit. What? Why me?
No, you in the 30 bob coat.
30 bob? £3.5.
3.5? Get away, for 3.5 you'd have got a longer one than that.
Don't be daft. You don't want them any longer than this. Look silly.
Well, get up out of that hole.
There's no hole now.
Well, there ought to be.
Here, lend us your trumpet a minute, will you, mate? I'll take care of it. It's only to show this geezer up here I do all different things. You've had to shut the pub door, ain't you? You want to stick your foot by it first, then bang it through, see? They can't slam it on you then.
Oi, Gabriel.
Why'd you turn it up all the time? If you don't like it, go outside, keeping on.
might as well be outside in here. We can't possibly put up with
Keep
this
well
sort of thing.
back,
You
son.
don't
You're
mind
driving me balmy standing down there. What with him up there and these geezers down here, you stuck round me. I don't know what I'm doing now. Keeping on. Got my hand stuck in it now. Marvellous, honey, that. Here, I'll tell you what I'll play for you. I'll play one of the hardest things you can play one of these. I'll play a tantivy.
Tantivy? What's that?
Tantivy's like a hunting song. All about hounds and horses and that.
Well, why don't you give the horse back his blanket?
Don't give me that stuff. I'll throw this at you. Oh. Sorry, mate, I didn't notice you.
No, eh?
You got no chance with these geezers, have you?
No, not a bit.
Keep well back, son, a good boy. Oh, it's this, I thought it was you. I shall now have much pleasure in playing for you a tantivy. Oh. It's marvellous, ain't it? Look, do me a favour, son. Get right off the stage altogether. All right. Driving me balmy. Because I want plenty of room for this.
Very few shows in London, if any, remained unscathed during the Blitz. The Princess Theatre played host to a very successful revue called Shepherd's Pie, starring Richard Hearn, later to become Mr. Pastry. But this show had to close down for a few days when the air raids became particularly heavy. Fortunately, no such problems arose the night the film cameras captured these marvellous moments. First under the spotlight, Sidney Howard.
A gentleman living near Regent's Park with a very fine Irish terrier. Taking it out for his morning's walk, met a friend of his who stood admiring the dog. The owner very proudly said, oh, yes, he's a wonderful dog. He says, you know, he says, I put a penny in his mouth every morning and he goes and fetches me the paper. He said, what is more remarkable, if I give him silver, he brings back both the paper and the change. He said, I'll show you. So he popped half a crown into the dog's mouth and said, Jack, paper. The dog trotted off. They waited for half an hour and a half, no sign of the dog. The owner said, well, we'd better go and look into things. So they wandered down Portland Place, down Regent Street, turned into Piccadilly, and there, opposite Fortnum and Mason's, they saw the dog trotting alongside a little French poodle. The owner of the dog said, well, I've never known him do that before. His friend said, perhaps he's never had half a crown before.
Richard Hearn didn't need jokes to be funny, as we've just seen. But one man who did, and my word, there was no one to touch him when he was in full flight, was the governor, Max Miller. The 1939 film Hootsman shows him at his very best.
Aye, I'm here. Thanks very much. I expected more, but I'm satisfied. Blimey, you don't know what to wear this weather, do you, lady? It's raining again, Ducky. You all right in here? That's right. You'll be all right. Stay where you are. I know exactly what you're saying to yourselves. You're saying to yourselves, why is he dressed like that? I'll tell you why I'm dressed like this. I'm a commercial traveller, and I'm ready for bed. Now, listen. The last time I played this theatre, I cracked a joke, and somebody told the manager. They're not entitled to do that. It's jealousy. And how do I know? Because, as a rule, he sits in the box, and tonight he's not there. Now, I'm going to crack the same joke, but don't you laugh, because if you laugh, he'll know it's rude. Now, I'll find out where he is. I think he's round the back. Now, don't move, and don't go out. Don't you go out till I come back. He's on the side, sitting in a bar chair with a silk hat and a whip. Now, don't laugh. I've not got a nice figure, lady. Haven't I? No, I have. I'm not ducky. No, honest. No, well, when I'm talking, it's rude to interfere. It's like married life. No, I'm not a nice lady. I'm not drawn in. I'm all muscle. Honest, I'm not. Don't they ride up this weather? I've got new ones on tonight, lady. New ones. All rubber. Do you wear them, lady? You do, don't you, Ducky? Oh, you want to wear them. They're very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. Listen. You want to wear them right next to your skin. Right next to your skin. Let's say you wear them. Little tiny holes. You've seen them. Yes, you have. You've seen them in the shop. I've got them on and they're nice, too. Lovely. Not drawn in. Honest, I'm not. Isn't it nice? I feel nice. You do look funny when you take them off. You look like a golf ball. Look at them. He's splitting their sides.
I cannot see anything to laugh at.
Oh, well, have a look at that. Listen, I've just come back from my holidays and always have a wonderful time when I go on my holidays because I haven't got one of those wives who says, where have you been? How much have you spent? Who have you been with? She doesn't say that. She comes with me. She didn't go with me this time. I went by myself. I went to Blackpool and I went round looking for rooms and I knocked on a door. And a dear old lady came to the door, a nice lady. A little bit and some more, not quite so much, and then perhaps. And that's all I want, just a little encouragement. She said, what do you want? I said, could you accommodate me? She said, I'm awfully sorry, I'm full up. I said, but surely you could squeeze me in the little back room, couldn't you? She said, I could, but I haven't got time now.
What are you going to do when he cracks something funny?
When I get about here, see, I should go across there at a gallop, like I do on Sundays when I go riding. I go riding every Sunday now, along right in front, side saddle. Side saddle, that's the only way I can stay on. I've got my own skirt and everything. And last Sunday, everybody was laughing. I didn't know it was this horse. Give me 4 in a bar, 2 barmaids, and shuffle and cut twice. I'm known as a cheeky chappie. The things I say are snappy. That's why the pretty girls all fall for me. I don't do things contrary. My love will never vary. Ask Mary from the dairy. Here's the key. I fell in love with Mary from the dairy, but Mary wouldn't fall in love with me. Down by an old mill stream, we both sat down to dream. Little did she know that I was thinking of a scheme. Now on our farm, said Mary from the dairy, we've got the finest cows you've ever seen. I don't do things by halves. I'll let you see my calves, and they're not the same shaped calves as Nellie Dean. Isn't that a lovely melody, lady? And the words are nice, aren't they? Hawkins is the name, the boy who wrote it. Film star, lady. Perhaps you're right and all. My missus says she's going to divorce me. The moment that she does, and I am free. There's a pretty girl I know, I'll take her and I'll show just where Mary from the dairy fell for me. Dance. See, I don't overdo it, no exertion. I'm double jointed, aren't I? Look, both legs alike, no cheating. I should knock myself out one night, I know I will. There's a twist, look, went right round. All clever stuff, no rubbish. Going down. Going down again. Now I'm off. Coming back. Scissors. Knife and fork. Look, proper caution, ain't I? Splits. Now it'll hurt me, won't it? Good night.
And here he is, a little slower and a little older, but still sparkling, in a rare clip from a television show in the 50s. A particular thrill for me, as I didn't know this piece of showbiz history still existed.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll make that do. If I don't work fast tonight, please forgive me. I'm very tired. I've been shoplifting. And some of those shops are very heavy, I'll tell you. And I know exactly what you're saying to yourselves. Why is he dressed like that? I'll tell you why I'm dressed like this. I've just come from a wedding. And a very sad wedding. And when I say sad, I mean sad. A poor old man, 80, married a young girl of 18. And you can't get anything sadder than that, can you? It's sad when you think of it. But she was a beautiful girl, and as she walked down the aisle, she carried a beautiful bunch of flowers. And as the verger walked down the aisle, he carried the old man. Isn't it sad when you think? Then there was the wedding breakfast. I was invited to that. They had a cake there 6 feet high, and on the cake it said everyone can take a piece home. Well, you know me. I took 2 pieces, a blonde and a brunette. When I got home, I started packing my bag. The wife said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Paris. She said, what are you going to use for money? I said, francs. She said, francs not going. What are you talking about? Here. When I got over there, a nice hotel, but the bedroom, oh, a shocking bedroom. I've never seen anything like it. A dirty big crack right down the wall. Of course, it didn't bother me because I couldn't understand it. It was in French, you see.
Max Miller. There really will never be another lady. Now, most comics at one time or another have had members of the audience walk out on them. Doesn't bother me. It's when they start walking towards me I start to worry. But between 1939 and 45, mass walkouts were a frequent occurrence. Take this occasion, for example, during a performance of one of Ralph Reeder's famous gang shows.
We're riding along on the crest of a wave and the world is
Now, from now on, this is no professional show. It's a sort of a party where everybody's sort of going to get in together, sit down and enjoy themselves. And tonight, look, we're especially glad there's so many sergeants here. Honestly, if there's one thing we love to see out there, it's sergeants. It's the only time they sit down, shut up, and listen.
Pay attention, please. Will the crew of Sunderland T for Tommy report to their aircraft immediately? The captain and the navigator to report to the operations room. I will repeat that. Will the crew of Sunderland T for Tommy report to their aircraft immediately? The captain and navigator to report to the operations room. That is all.
Cheerio, boys, and all the best.
Sorry about the film quality there, but it's a piece of history. I think you'll agree. 2 stars who had won the hearts of the population before hostilities began were Arthur Askey and Richard Murdoch. Their radio show, Bandwagon, was really Itmar's predecessor, and when big-hearted Arthur and his pal Stinker popped over to France to entertain the troops, they were made more than welcome.
In case you didn't hear what I said, I don't know. Am I standing in a hole or are you on horseback? Listen, you silly little man. What's to do? Scotch. Yeah. More scotch. Well, if it's going back to old jokes you want, what about this? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Bandwagon brazenly presents Chestnut Corner. Where do the motor horns come from? China. What part of China? Hong Kong. Thanks, Dave and Joe. Now, where are we? Would you like to see a photograph of me taken when I was in hospital? Rather. Here you are, I'm in the end bed. Yeah, but the end bed's empty. Is it? I must have got out for a minute.
saw you with last night.
That wasn't a lady, that was my nephew. He walks that way.
While Enser and Stars in Battle Dress kept our troops entertained both at home and abroad, variety theatres all over the country continued to flourish. And no wonder, with performers like Arthur Lucan topping the bills. Better known as Old Mother Riley, he was at his best in the truly wonderful sketch, Bridget's Night Out.
Do you know why I'm not in my bed? My daughter's out. Me daughter's out. And here's me sitting up here hour after hour, waiting for her to come home. Can you beat it? I wonder where she is. I wonder where she's gone. I wonder who she's with. I wonder what she's doing. I wonder what time it is. I hope she's all right. I wonder how long I slept. If I only knew what time it was, you know, I'd be more settled in my mind. See, I don't know how long I've slept. I don't know how long she's been out, and I can't read the clock till it strikes. That's where she has me. That's where she has me, and she knows it. She's out. And here's me, sitting pretty. Don't know whether it's daytime, nighttime, half-time, summertime, early closing, or next Wednesday. 1 o'clock 3 times. I've been sitting there since yesterday. Sitting there since yesterday, waiting for her to come home tonight, and now it's tomorrow. I've never seen her like this before. She's never done anything like this before. There's something wrong. There's something happened to her. My lovely child. She's gone forever. She's gone. When she comes home... Oh, and it's not right for any girl to treat a mother like she's treated me. She doesn't come home soon. I know. I shall have a nervous breakdown. I shall have a total eclipse. It's me nerves. Me nerves, you know me. Ah! Somebody's got hold of my leg. Somebody's got hold of me. Not a disappointment.
Marvellous stuff. Mention wartime entertainers and the name Vera Lynn is bound to spring to mind. But Vera wasn't the only female vocalist who kept the nation's spirits up. Anne Shelton did her bit, and how. And so did a certain lady from Rochdale, our Gracie. She was adored by millions, not only for her singing, but for her sense of humour as well. And that's why she earns a special place in Jokes That Won the War.
My brother's in the Air Force. Yes, he's joined the Home Defence with the biggest aspidester in the world. String old Italy from the very highest bow of the biggest aspidester in the world. As we march along together, as we march along, shall we sing a song together? Shall we sing a song? Though the way be weary, still our hearts are cheery if we sing a
voices of the Star and the soldiers roll on to the magnificent final line of that great declaration of faith in our empire's destiny.